Are you with us yet? Ms. Spalding. Ms. Spalding, was that a here? I think so.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Thank you. Mr. Bellamy?
Yep.
Mr. Conway? And Ms. Fox?
I'm here.
Thank you. Including myself, we have 5 at today's meeting. That does substantiate a quorum. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Real quick, I would ask our legal counsel, Mr. Marsh, to give us a quick briefing on today's meeting and what necessitates us to be able to, what allows us to be able to use this forum for today's meeting.
This is Justin Marsh from Metro Department of Law. Governor's Executive Order 16, as continued in its current form by Governor's Executive Order 51, allows public meetings to be conducted in an electronic forum so long as the board determines that it's essential business of the board and votes to have a meeting in that format. Given that's the case, I'd ask for a motion that the business before the board today is essential business of the board. The board chooses to conduct business in a WebEx or electronic format. And lastly, that any beer board regulations that would prohibit holding the meeting in this format be waived.
Very well, thank you. All board members on today's call heard Mr. Marsh's request needing a motion to approve this forum today. I'll entertain a motion and a subsequent second.
So move. Chris.
Second, this is Bailey.
A motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I'll ask those in favor by answering yay. Those opposed answering nay. Ms. German.
Yay.
Ms. Spalding.
Yay.
Mr. Bellamy.
Yay.
Ms. Fox.
Yay.
And have Mr. Perlin or Mr. Conway joined us yet? Hearing none, I have 4 yays, no nays, motion passes. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Marsh. The order for today is to address the ongoing matter in the industry and for those beer permit holders to allow them to continue to deliver their beer products, those products that we, the beer board, regulates in Metro, as well as for curbside delivery. As we know, we first passed emergency regulation number 1 on March 20th, subsequently passed regulation 2 on May 18th. Today's emergency regulation number 3 extends curbside and delivery through October 31st. But before we move on to that, I think the only matters that changed in this regulation that differs from previous regulations are the date, obviously, of its termination, as well as number 12 regarding the order by the chief medical director regarding a 10 p.m. Prohibition timeline. And to that matter, I would ask Mr. Marsh, if you would just clarify that particular clause in this emergency order so that it is on the record and clear to those that will see this or will be affected by this.
Sure, Mr. Chair, this is Marsh from Metro Department of Law. I'll speak briefly, and if I don't address what you are actually questioning, just let me know and I will go back and address your question. So my understanding is that curbside delivery pursuant to this emergency regulation would be finished at 10 o'clock. Chief Medical Director's amended Order 9, Amendment 2 discusses closing certain, I think it's bars and limited restaurants, and I would need to pull that up at 10 o'clock, and this would just encapsulate that in the order. And current delivery would still be allowed, which is when someone would call in and place their order in advance for the alcohol to be delivered to a alternate location, as it would go with delivery. Curbside permits someone to come up to the business and purchase there and take out. And that will be finished at 10 o'clock pursuant to Order 9. Mr.
Okay, so
McDonough,
just for
do you have any? Sorry.
clarification, I was just saying, just for clarification, you're saying that, and that's the way, when I first read it, I was confused, or it wasn't perfectly clear, which is why I asked the question, that the 10 p.m. prohibition of sales is only regarding curbside delivery.
That is correct, Mr. Chair, as I read the order.
Okay. To the director, do you have any comments or clarifications on that one point? Or to that matter, any comments or clarification regarding the entire order? You're muted.
All right, is that better?
Yep.
Sorry about that. I don't have anything additional to add as far as the curfew goes, but in my discussions with Mr. Marsh, we did come to the conclusion that we may need to amend the regulation in order to allow it so that if the mayor does lift the curfew, then the curfew is also lifted on curbside services as well. So that's probably the only amendment that we need to make, is just to make sure that once the mayor lifts the order, then this curbside restriction is also lifted.
So are you saying that we need to add an amendment to the order that's in front of us today that would remove this clause should this order from the mayor and the health director office be lifted? Is that what you're saying, Benton?
Yes, that is correct. So I think when we make the motion, when the board makes the motion, then they can make the motion that particular section will be lifted at the same time that the mayor lifts the restriction as well.
Just for clarification, this is Justin Marsh from Metro Legal. Just for clarification purposes, probably the best way to do that, since we don't know when it will be or what order number it will be, or in that order, and what will be encapsulated in the next order, is when the restrictions change, bring it back to the beer board and discuss amending through a special meeting or putting it on the next called meeting.
So just do another emergency meeting?
Mm-hmm. Keeping it as it is for the moment, and amending it in the future.
Okay.
I guess I understand what you're saying, but to me that seems like a redundant action. If we can, I guess, universally agree that we'll just have an amended phrase onto number 12 in today's order that just says this clause shall terminate upon, like in this case, chief medical director, something to the effect of this clause shall terminate upon, I guess, termination of the chief medical director's 10 p.m. prohibition. I mean, I'm okay doing an emergency meeting, but I'm not sure that from a timing standpoint, if they pass that on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, giving anything close to a weekend, if they lift that on a Wednesday, I'm not sure that we as a board can convene quickly enough to flow with that lifting by either the mayor's office or the chief medical director in a timely fashion anyway.
Mr. Chair, this is Justin Marsh from Metro Legal. If the board chooses to have a motion and a second with the amended language as you propose. Legal will work on drafting that for your signature. If it's,
Okay. That's my opinion. I'm only one. I'm open up to other board members for discussion on that matter. We haven't made the motion to pass this yet. I think we're still just discussing it, and I would like to continue this manner until we determine what we want next. So to the rest of the board, do you have any comments to the order and specifically to that piece that we're discussing regarding number 12?
This is basically, Mr. Chairman, I would agree with you as far as if we can just put the wording in now, might as well. I have a question, just a clarification question as far as the permits themselves. So this order is extended through October 31st, but do people need to, if they have a permit now, do they need to kind of submit a new request? Is it saying people need to submit a new request every 30 days? Or once you have it, are you good till October 31st?
We have just been renewing them every 30 days. And
Okay.
so that way it's one less thing for a permit holder to have to worry
Okay.
about.
So if you already are a permit holder now, you're not going to you don't need to do anything to get it reapproved.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. Any other comments? Any other questions? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion in one of two forms, either to accept the emergency order as written and that was sent to board members prior to today's meeting, or a motion to accept it with the amended language regarding number 12, that clause of the order terminate upon the 10 p.m. prohibition termination from the chief medical director and or the mayor's office. Anyone?
I would move for the second option. Sorry, my 1-year-old's having a slight breakdown right now. But I would move to pass it with the additional language about the termination of the 10 p.m. prohibition.
Chris, I would second that.
All right, thank you. Any discussion regarding those? I have a motion to accept the emergency beer board regulation number 3, extending curbside and delivery through October 31st, with an amendment to terminate clause 12 upon the mayor's office and or chief medical director's termination of the 10 p.m. prohibition. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please say yay. Those opposed, please say nay when I call your name. Ms. Jarman.
Yay.
Thank you. Mr. Perlin, are you with us yet? Nope. Ms. Spalding.
Yay.
Mr. Bellamy.
Yay.
Ms. Fox.
Yay.
And I'm assuming Mr. Conway was not able to join us today. If not, we have 4 yays, we have 4 nays. The emergency beer board regulation number 3, extending curbside and delivery, is passed. That will be in effect until October 31st. As quick order regarding that. The director and myself, as well as I think the director has been in communication with legal. We are in the process of drafting the language to make these efforts to make this curbside and delivery a permanent matter across Metro. Ideally, we would be distributing that proposed legislation to the board maybe by our next meeting. Director, you have any comments to that piece?
I do not. We should have something to the board pretty quickly.
All right, good. And to everyone on the board, I want to thank you for your efforts and for being able to jump on this quickly called meeting. The director and I did receive an email from Mr. Barrett Hobbs earlier this morning regarding the actions we have taken. And Mr. Hobbs owns a number of establishments across Metro. And I wanted to read this into the record so that it's a matter of public record, and just to show to express his appreciation for what we've done as a board. It came in this morning at 9:03 a.m. Mr. Barrett Hobbs from Cumberland Hospitality Group. It says, and I quote, "Dear Director McDonough and Beer Board members, I want to extend a note of appreciation for the help extended to our industry during the COVID health crisis. What began as a health crisis has turned into a never-ending financial crisis for many. The hospitality industry, by most measurements, has been hit the worst. There are many state and city departments that intertwine with our industry, whom we pay millions in taxes to help operate. Those departments have virtually been silent in efforts to help us survive. However, the actions this board has taken, many small, some larger, has happened without much notice or fanfare. The swift action to allow to-go sales for some was literally the difference in losing a business, personal savings, and in many cases, a home. Many times, a rule on paper does not truly reflect the true impact on a small business, good or bad. In this case, it was crucial. At a time when help for small business owners are part of sound bites on TV for politicians that never really pan out, you have made a difference. As a beer permit holder for over 25 years, thanks for helping where you could. I hope your sense of community support becomes as contagious as this horrible virus and spreads through our city, state, and federal levels to help keep us open. With sincere gratitude, Barrett Hobbs." That was nice to get. Again, I know Mr. Hobbs is very integrated in the hospitality industry here in Nashville and across the state. But I think that goes to attest that we have been on the ball, at least within within our roles and what we can do. And I appreciate all that the board has done to do this. And I particularly appreciate all that the director and his staff have done and are doing to make the process as easy and to alleviate as many speed bumps as we can to ensure that those out there in the hospitality and beverage service industry continue to strive to just stay alive. So again, thank you, Director. Thank you to your staff. Please send our thank yous as well. And with that, does anyone else have any comments?
I was just going to add that we first of all thank you for that statement, and from Mr. Hobbs and from you, Mr. Chairman, and the support of the board to make our jobs a lot as easy as you possibly can with this. So we really do appreciate that, and also just wanted to update you all that Terrence Darby is back. So we are happy to have him back and in the saddle, helping us on a daily basis now. And just wanted to make you all aware that Doug James, Inspector James, lost his dad this week. So he's in Virginia with his family at the moment. So wanted to make sure that you all were aware and to keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. And also Amanda's husband is in the hospital right now, so we're dealing with that. So get Terrence back and have 2 more sidelined at the moment, but we'll get through it. That's what we do. So appreciate that.
Very good. Thanks, Director. Anyone else on the board have any comments? Again, thank you guys for joining us today. I have 12:24 and we stand adjourned unless there's any objection to that.
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thoughts with everyone.
Yes, thoughts with everybody. Prayers.